The price of the European Union's ecological transformation will be economic poverty for many Europeans who will not be able to bear its costs. Farmers, miners, and transport workers, among others, will be negatively affected by the ongoing changes. Farms could go bankrupt within 3 years. There will then be a massive sell-off of assets, benefiting the wealthiest people. I, for one, think that the idea here is to help those owners who own huge farms in Ukraine. Owners from Ukraine? Certainly not Ukrainian farmers. On a world scale in Europe, this means absolutely nothing, but will put the entire Polish nation into poverty, in particular those who work in industry, because nothing new is being created for these places, these workplaces that have already collapsed. The European Commission is responsible for developing the European Green Deal. In Brussels, it adopted a CO2 emissions reduction target of 55% by 2030. From Poland, representatives of the Civic Platform, PSL, and the left voted in favor of the package. So we have to stay the course we have set. And on this, I fully agree with my friend, Donald Tusk. It was the Civic Coalition that went into the parliamentary elections with a program of 100 specific promises for the first 100 days of their government in power. In one of them, we read: "We will present a detailed energy transition plan to reduce CO2 emissions by 75% by 2030. Therefore, the Civic Coalition is calling for stricter regulations, which even in their current form spark violent public resistance. The farmers' protests were already sweeping across Europe in December. The situation escalated in the wake of Brussels' decision to introduce Green Deal regulations. Nevertheless, Donald Tusk is trying to disclaim responsibility for the specific promises placed in his own election program. Mr. Morawiecki, Mr. Kaczyński, Mr. Wojciechowski, the entire Law and Justice Party, the whole absolutely full of ignorance and complete lack of knowledge about Polish agriculture, bunch of ignorant people. One of the 7 demands of Law and Justice in the European Parliament elections is to abolish the Green Deal. What Donald Tusk is doing at the moment is simply following the old method, like a fleeing thief that shouts, "Catch the thief."
Uciekający złodziej krzyczy: "Łapaj złodzieja."
Bureaucrats are convinced that the only way to fight the climate is to restrict civil liberties. It is the human factor that is allegedly responsible for the progressive global warming. Many scientists, specialists, and experts are signing letters and declarations opposing the widely lobbied thesis. Professor Leszek Marks, a retired geologist at the Polish Academy of Sciences and the National Geological Institute, also discusses this. On a global scale, human influence is minimal, if we can even talk about it at all, while on a local or regional scale, this influence is quite significant. My impression is that the Green Deal will exacerbate social stratification and will not lead to a better climate for all, for the reason that the poorest people may simply not be able to withstand these restrictions. Today's huge protest in Warsaw is a signal to citizens across Europe that the Green Deal can be stopped. Our editorial staff accompanied the protesters throughout the day. These photos from today, a month before the European Parliament elections, will be shown across Europe, despite the fact that the leftist censors tend to cut them out. We partner and cooperate with the Associated Press. Many stations take photos and different materials from us, but I think they also realize what is happening themselves. This cannot be hidden. Data released by the European Commission shows that China and the United States are responsible for more than 40% of global CO2 emissions. If the activity to reduce CO2 emissions is not balanced internationally, the European economy will fall far behind the competition.